So let's talk about Avengers Infinity War and the future of the MCU. Now, before I go any further, this video is going to contain spoilers and discussion of the film Avengers Infinity War. So if you have not seen the movie, I'm going to give you a couple seconds to go ahead and click off right now, because we're going to go into the ramifications of that movie and what happened at the end, what's going on, and what's going to happen, or what may happen, or what could happen, what's probably going to happen in the future of the MCU and in Avengers 4. So right now, click off. Okay, now, at the end of Avengers Infinity War, things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe were different, they were changed, and they may never be the same again. Thanos snapped his finger and wiped away half of the life in the universe, including on Earth, as we saw in the post-credit scene where we saw Nick Fury and Maria Hill slowly disintegrate into nothingness, and that was after we had seen the other characters. So the process is still going on, and we see Thanos looking at the sunset, basically patting himself on the back symbolically for accomplishing his mission and overall winning. Then in the post-credit scene, we have, Nick Fury contacting somebody. The pager drops, and it's the symbol for Captain Marvel. Kevin Feige has said that Captain Marvel is going to be the most powerful character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and she's probably going to be the key to helping our heroes make that big comeback in Avengers 4. The original comics, Captain Marvel was always very powerful, but like in the original comics, characters like Thor and Hulk are still stronger than her. We're going to see what they do in the film. So I'm guessing the way it's going to work is she's probably going to be the most powerful human. But again, Hulk at his max power would eat her up. But we saw Hulk lose to Thanos in this movie, and that put him in a state of fear. And that's one other thing about the ramifications of this film, is that things have changed, and that's one of the things that have changed, is that Bruce Banner cannot tap into the Hulk persona anymore. They have to bring the Hulk back out of him, which I think is going to be part of the character arc for the Hulk in Avengers 4. It began with Thor Ragnarok. This is Chapter 2, Infinity War, and then Avengers 4, we'll see the Hulk back the way he should be. I do find it funny, though, that we saw the Hulk in the trailer with fighting alongside the people in Wakanda, and that was a big misdirection. That scene was not in the movie, so I thought that was kind of interesting. Now, speaking of ramifications, at the beginning of the movie, there was already a major ramification that was not even shown, and that is that we saw, or we heard, we didn't see, that Thanos had gone to Xandar, which is the home of the Nova Corps, the Nova Empire, and took the stone, the Infinity Stone. I believe that was the Power Stone. He took that one from the people of Xandar and wiped away the planet. So right now, even though they didn't show it, you can presume that the Nova Corps has been crippled. And I'm not sure if Nova will be a character in Avengers 4. I could totally see them doing something like that, where they bring Nova in to, and when I say Nova, I mean the Nova Corps, or the character of Nova from the comics, the actual Nova, or somebody like that. They could do that in Avengers 4, but that's one thing that's going to be interesting, because not only have they been wiped away, but also the Guardians of the Galaxy, for the most part, are gone, with the exception of Rocket Raccoon. He's the only one left. And if you want to count Nebula, she also counts too. So the only Guardian of the Galaxy who did not get disintegrated was Rocket. And the reason why, I think, is because if you watch the film, you'll notice that Rocket keeps telling Thor how, I have a lot to lose and things like that. And I'm pretty sure what they're implying is that what he has to lose is the Guardians, who are now his family. It's kind of like the whole Drax the Destroyer thing, how he came to love Quill and love Gamora and love these characters. Rocket might seem like a big tough guy, but he cares for these characters, and Groot is gone too. So I think that his character is going to have its own arc. Maybe not a major one, but I think Rocket Raccoon will show that he loves the Guardians in Avengers 4. He's the last one left. The Asgardians are gone. I mean, they talked about it in the movie. Thor talked about it. He lost his dad, Odin. He lost his brother. He lost his sister. Idris Elba died. Like, the Asgardians are gone. Now, I heard that there's a deleted scene where Valkyrie and half the Asgardians escape. I did hear about that Thanos let them go. So that may be a factor into the fourth movie, but again, it just goes to show that Thanos has left the Marvel Universe in complete disarray. Now, some unanswered questions are, what's going to be the fate of Ant-Man, Wasp, and Hawkeye? They weren't in the movie, but did they disappear? My suspicions is no, and I'll tell you why. I think that, first of all, one has to be aware that Ant-Man and Wasp is going to be taking place before Infinity War. So when you go see that movie in July, it takes place before this movie, so everything's going to be fine. Now, my prediction for the end credit scene or the post-credit scene for that movie is that they're going to start seeing the disappearances. I'm thinking that's going to be the post-credit scene where Scott Lang and maybe even Hank Pym, maybe the whole crew starts to see, you know, the world come apart, and that's going to lead into how they're going to get involved in Avengers 4. What I've noticed, and I said it in my review, is that the original Avengers from the first 2012 Avengers movie are still there. Black Widow, Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Hawkeye, and also, if you're a fan of the comics, you know that Ant-Man and Wasp are also old school Avengers. So, now obviously it was Hank Pym in the comics, but still, doesn't matter. Point is, they're totally, to me, building up this big story where the original Avengers who survived are going to have to save their new friends, like Black Panther, Bucky. It really isn't a new friend, but you get what I'm saying, like the newer characters, you know, Spider-Man, the Guardians. They're going to have to save them, but will it be at the cost of their own lives? That is the question. I think I'm going to do a separate video discussing my predictions about who's going to die in Avengers 4. I think I might be doing that separately from this one, but I do think that there will be some casualties by the end of Avengers 4. And I mean like for good, not just like, you know, for a movie or two. I think there might be some permanent casualties, or at least some retirements, you know, at least that. So as of right now, Thanos has the Infinity Gauntlet. It's complete. It appears to have been damaged in the film, but that also comes off like it's a little bit of, I guess you can say, maybe some trickery. Plus, if he's got the Infinity Gems, they can always, you know, materialize and do a lot of matter manipulation. So that might not last. The question's going to be, how are they going to stop this guy? How are they going to take the gauntlet and reverse things back to how they were? Well, if you go back to Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and if you check out the post-credit scene for that film, they teased Adam Warlock inside the cocoon. Now, if you've been following the comics, or if you've read the comics, you know how important of a character Adam Warlock is to this whole Infinity Gauntlet situation. Again, I may do a separate video just on Adam Warlock and what he may mean to this story, but it appears like, and it's safe to predict that in Guardians 3, like we originally thought that Warlock's going to be safe for Guardians 3, but now I'm thinking no. Now I'm thinking it's possible that with Avengers 4, the two new characters that may get the most spotlight, the most shine, are probably going to be Adam Warlock and Captain Marvel. And not for nothing, they are very powerful. And also not for nothing, Adam Warlock is ridiculously powerful. I mean, more so, way more than Captain Marvel, unless they depower him too. Now, one thing that we did not see or get any information about in this film is the state of the cosmic entities in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We know they're there because we've seen them mention the Infinity... Well, we've seen them mention in Doctor Strange about the Living Tribunal, who also could be in Avengers 4. We haven't seen Eternity. We haven't seen Death at all. I don't know if they're writing her out of the story completely. We haven't seen Infinity. We haven't seen any of these cosmic entities. And obviously we haven't seen people like Silver Surfer and Galactus, even though they would be crucial to this story. They're not. They're part of the Fantastic Four license for Fox. So until the Disney Fox deal gets finalized, they're not going to be in this universe, which is too bad because they're pretty important, I would say. But because of what Thanos did by wiping out half of all life in the universe, even though he may think that's bringing balance, that's actually bringing a significant amount of imbalance, especially with the fact that on Earth we're seeing helicopters crash and cars crash and the entire world being in disarray. Obviously other planets are going to have that same problem. Also, conspicuous by his absence was Hawkeye. He was not in the movie at all, even though there had been reports that he has a big role in the movie. I'm wondering if that report is actually for Avengers 4, because I think that all the characters like Captain America, who didn't really have a lot of time in this film, like Hulk, to really shine, are going to get a lot of shine in Avengers 4. Same thing with, I think, Hawkeye. And it just makes sense to me that Avengers 4 kind of be the last hurrah for the old school Avengers. You know, they have their big climactic showdown with Thanos. They have Captain Marvel there to help them. They have, you know, maybe Adam Warlock, and they have this sort of new squad of leftovers, of whoever's left over, to help them save Black Panther and Spider-Man, because we know that those characters are not going to stay dead, because there are more Spider-Man movies, Black Panther movies, and they've officially announced Guardians Volume 3. So I don't know if Gamora will come back, because she's also dead, and she did not die at the hands of the Gauntlet. She died because Thanos threw her down that cliff to get the Soul Stone. The fact that she's also dead, will she come back for Guardians 3? Will it be the old crew, or will it be a new crew of Guardians? Difficult to say again, but it's possible they go either way. I feel like the deaths of Loki, all of the deaths that happened before the Gauntlet snap, I feel like may end up being permanent deaths. Because really, when you think about it, characters like Loki have already had their character arc, and there's not much else you can really do with him. You know what I mean? Even though I like the character, he's pretty much shown that he's had his full arc. Now, another character that died before the snap was the Vision, who kind of was a little bit of a jabroni in this movie. He didn't really do much, and the question is, will he come back? Well, the good thing about the Vision is that he can always be rebuilt, so I don't see that character ever permanently dying, because they can always rebuild him, but they might just be done with him, and it could be one of those things where, you know, Scarlet Witch did the right thing at the end of the day. It's just very interesting when we look at these characters like her and Thor and, you know, Peter Quill. They've lost their families. I mean, we've seen her brother get killed on screen in Age of Ultron. Well, now we saw her boyfriend get killed. Their parents got killed, you know, in the backstory. You know, just really tough lives for these characters. But that's just kind of how it is in the Marvel Universe. You know, lots of tragedies, including in this film. So I think that the state of the universe now is going to be in complete shambles, and it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to finally get to Thanos and correct all of this. One thing I want to point out is the Doctor Strange prophecy, which I may do a whole video on. He said that he went into the future and he saw 14 million outcomes and only one is the correct one, and I believe that's why he spared Tony, which means that he saw in the future that Tony Stark Iron Man is a crucial key to correcting all of this. That's what he saw, and that's why he kept him alive. And I think that's tremendous foreshadowing, and we're not going to get our answer until Avengers 4, and I'm very hyped to see kind of where that goes and, you know, how Tony is so important to them actually winning this thing. In the original comics, Thanos had lost because he pretty much gave up on himself. He had all this power, but yet he willed himself to lose. So I'm curious if they're going to do something like that in this movie, where even though he has all this great power, it's just not, he cracks under all the pressure for what he did, because he also has to deal with a lot of the guilt, if he even feels guilty, because he may not feel guilty, but it's up to you to kind of think about whether or not he will, about everything he's done. He may not feel remorse. It depends on how they want to write the character, but the way they wrote him in this movie, he definitely felt sadness for Gamora, so I could see him feeling sadness for what he did, even though what he did he feels is right. You know, it's like the whole Old Yeller thing where they had to kill the dog, and even though it was the right thing to do because the dog was suffering from rabies, it still hurt. You know, same thing here. In his eyes, I'm not saying killing Gamora was the right thing to do. I'm saying from the character perspective, he thought it was. So, very curious, and at the end of the film, of course, said Thanos will return, so they knew what they had here, and they knew that he is not done. I'm curious if they're going to go ahead and actually keep him alive after Avengers 4. He might not get killed. There's a chance they may keep him alive and hold him off for Phase 4, Phase 5, where he might actually help the Avengers against a bigger threat. You know, that's happened in the comics before, where he has saved the Marvel Universe. They've done different Marvel storylines, like Marvel The End, and then, of course, Infinity War, the comic version, where he actually saved the universe. So there's a lot of complexities with this character, and we'll see what the Russos have in mind. Obviously, the film is already done shooting. They're editing it now. I expect the trailer sometime maybe in the summer, maybe in the winter time, and of course, the movie comes out in May. But we've also got Captain Marvel coming out too, so maybe we won't get any of that stuff. We'll see. Anyways, folks, that's it for this video. I have way more discussions to talk about when it comes to Avengers 4. Look forward to those on this channel here, World of Geekdom. We talk all things geeky. So, thank you guys. Hope you have a good one. And let me know if I missed any major ramifications when it came to the story or anything I may have missed along the way. Thanks. See you soon.